Hello, I'm Dr. Sam and this is Dr. Sam's Health. It's holiday season, Christmas time, and there is something I would like to talk to you about. Most of the people are calling this time is the most wonderful time of the year. I would call it the most difficult time of the year. Why? Because it is very difficult for people like ourselves to maintain our routines, to follow our diets, to work out regularly during this time, just because there are a number of activities happening. First of all, we are having all these lunches, dinners with friends, visiting family members. There are lots of food-related activities to begin with. There is also some stress related to the holiday season because we have to plan a number of extracurricular activities. We have to choose our gifts, decorate our places, visit some people. It takes a toll on our time, on our workout routines, and in general, overall, most of the people are breaking their daily routines, well-established ones, during the holiday season. And we also tend to consume a lot of food that is not healthy, both in terms of its quality and its quantity. And don't get me wrong, you can eat a lot of very good, high-quality foods, but at the same time, just nutritionally, this food will not be healthy, not be good for you. So today, I would like to talk about some ideas on how to mitigate the damage done by holiday season to our diet or our nutritional plan. There is a whole spectrum of food-related behaviors that people can show or take on during the holiday season. On one end would be sticking to your diet, 100% being true to it. Unfortunately, the majority of people cannot do this, and we've got another end of the spectrum, which is like complete gluttony. And there is something in between. Needless to say that sticking to a diet and going through the whole holiday season without breaking it is the best approach. Though, if you can do so, likely you don't need this video and you are not watching it. If you are watching it, likely you will anticipate some diet violations and you're afraid that during this holiday season you will screw up big time. And that's what we have on the other end of the spectrum. Eating a lot, indulging yourself. I really hate this word, indulging yourself. Ruining your diet, letting yourself 100% loose and just eating as much as you can, hoping that after the holidays you might restart your diet and kind of catch back and compensate for inappropriate food behaviors. So let's not fool ourselves. It never happens this way, or rarely it does happen this way. Normally what happens during the holiday season, we abandon our diets, we eat a lot, we gain weight, we break ketosis if we are in ketosis. We do not work out a lot, and we make some sort of a New Year's resolution, or we say that, okay, I will start my diet on day X. When we are restarting, we are starting a very low, from a very low ground. We are already unhappy with ourselves. We got lots of remorse because it was not really worth it. We have to get back to ketosis, back to new routine, and effectively, we have to admit that we have lost already 2-3 weeks of our life just because of this holiday season. That would be okay if it would happen like once a year, but quite frankly, we got quite a few significant major holidays during the year. So we have Christmas, we got New Year's, we got Easter, we've got summer vacation, most of us do, we got Summerlicious, some festivals like rib festivals, and later on in fall we have like an Oktoberfest, Halloween, Thanksgiving Day, and we're getting back to our New Year's and Christmas times. In addition to this 4 or 5 major holidays, you can add your birthday of your best friend, of your beloved one, of your wife or husband or partner, add a couple of weddings, add a couple of parties, add a couple of business trips, and what you will see is that pretty much all your year is it's like a minefield. You are going through it, and every couple of weeks you've got some event that will that will be difficult to go through, which will be effectively a holiday and a break in your diet. So if you are having this mentality of I'm going to start after, effectively you will not get anywhere. So if you're approaching holiday season and you feel like you're going to break your diet, you don't feel strong about maintaining it, it is important to have some sort of a contingency management, contingency plan, in order not to get to this another extreme where you completely let yourself lose and ruin everything you've been working so hard for. There are several strategies I can offer you in terms of contingency management or damage control or harm reduction, as I would call it in my professional field. I will talk about these contingency management strategies in a very arbitrary order of increasing the effort that is needed to actually maintain them and their similarity to an actual diet. The very first one is something that we call a cheat day or a refeed. So what's the difference? Right away. Cheat day is something that you do not really plan well. You just let yourself loose for a day or for several hours, eat whatever you want, and then you restart your diet the way it was planned. Refeed is better planned, and usually you know exactly what kind of food, what is the amount of food you're gonna consume over the course of a specific day. And both approaches, both cheat day and refeed, have a goal of actually boosting your metabolism. The idea is that when you're following a very strict diet, when you're fasting or you are on a very low calorie diet, your metabolism slows down. That's the adaptive strategy of your body to adjust to the decreased amount of calories you consume. I would say that it's one of the best strategies you can use for the holiday season, especially something like Christmas or New Year's, right? So you are going on a very specific diet for weeks, and you are feeling that you're already feeling that your metabolism has slowed down. So in practical terms, it simply means that you choose one day, and on this specific day, say Christmas Day, you eat a lot. You can either let yourself loose and eat whatever you want in any quantities, or you can make a refeed day and actually plan this meal. But in the end of the day, it will be just one day when you kind of break your diet, but the overall outcome of this break in your diet will be very, very simple. You will boost your metabolism, and I wouldn't even count as breaking your diet. You actually implement a refeed day in such a way that it meets both the holiday schedule and your dietary nutrition plan. Another approach would be also quite simple, but it requires a little bit more effort. That would be portion control. So simply what you are doing is you are eating whatever you want, but you make sure that you do not eat a lot. You make small portions, use small plates. This approach requires a huge amount of self-discipline. I personally usually have difficulties with doing something like that, but just one point to make here: the law of diminishing return is actually working here perfectly. What I mean by that is, no matter what kind of food you prefer, the very first bite of your favorite food is the tastiest one. It's the most satisfying one. When you have your next bite and the next bite and the next bite, with each and every bite, the amount of pleasure, of satisfaction diminishes. So effectively, if you are going on some sort of a portion control schedule, you are just having this very first bites of every food that you like and you enjoy it the most. So you are pretty much optimizing your gustatory experiences here. Another approach closely related to this one is planning your meals. That requires even more effort, and it's very close to restricting your calories. So what you are planning to do is you are going to plan your meals for every single day. Sometimes it's impossible, especially if you're attending some events. But in general, the idea is that you would still maintain certain caloric restriction, and you would consume the foods that you like and just incorporate them properly into your daily planning routine. It is kind of restrictive a bit difficult to actually implement, especially if you're eating out. So if you're going somewhere, you do not know exactly the quantities of food you are consuming, I mean grams. You do not know exactly the composition of these foods, how much fat, how much carbs, how much protein you are consuming, how much fiber. So overall, it's a little bit difficult to implement. It might work for some people, it might not work for you specifically, but it's one of the approaches. And it's quite close to calorie restriction. So while these last two approaches seem to be very restrictive and require a lot of willpower to actually implement them, I can offer you something that is quite the opposite. Something that we call intermittent fasting. And this approach is actually very interesting because it does make sense physiologically. So the whole idea that throughout the day people would have a feeding window which would last for like 2, 4, 8 hours, and in between these feeding windows people would fast for accordingly 22, 20, 16 hours, and these fasts are enough to actually trigger certain hormonal responses in your body that are aimed towards burning fat and building muscle. So this approach is physiologically sound. I've got my doubts about it, quite honestly, but if you can implement it throughout the holiday season, it might be a perfect solution for you. For example, you plan for having fasts in between meals, and you're going to have all your meals in the evenings when you have dinners with friends, dinners with family, and so on. So it might actually be a very good fit for your holiday schedule, for your holidays routine, and at the same time it is a valid, viable nutritional approach. So as I said, I do have my doubts, and in my previous video I said that I've lost 15 pounds in 15 days, but I regained them. And since right now it's a holiday season and one of my recommendations is to try intermittent fasting, and I have my doubts about it, I would like to make another experiment. This experiment will be very simple. For 15 days, I will not restrict any calories, but I will go on intermittent fasting. I'm going to have only one meal a day. I'm going to eat whatever I want, as much as I want, till I feel very, very full. But that will be it. By doing so, I'm going to show whether timing is important or not, and also whether timing of food intake is more important than the calorie restriction or excess. Having said that, I already started yesterday, and I've got 14 more days to go. So I'll be working on myself. I chose this approach, intermittent fasting. I think it fits my schedule in the best way possible. You are obviously free to choose whatever you like, use your own approaches or anything that I have suggested. And I will wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, wonderful holiday season, and I hope that you will spend this time really well. You will enjoy your food, your nutrition, and you'll manage to survive this period. I will report on my 15 days of intermittent fasting experiment relatively soon as I'm done with it, and I'll see you in my next video.